Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Anna, aka Brookwillow, and today I have some ideas to knit your own seasonal decor. We are officially in the dark season, at least here in the Northern Hemisphere, and whether you celebrate the holidays or not, it's always fun to decorate the home and make it feel cozy and festive to get us through those long winter nights. I went online window shopping at all of my favorite home decor stores and put together 4 different moods based on the different trends I was seeing. And I have patterns that I think would work great for each of these 4 different moods. And those are colorful, natural, traditional, and celestial. I have also created bundles for all 4 of these themes on Ravelry, which I'll have linked in the description below. Instead of linking out every single pattern, I thought it would just be easy to click the link for each theme and it'll bring you right to the Ravelry page. And also there are extra knit items that I won't be talking about today just for time reasons that are also included in those themed bundles. Let's just jump right into the colorful theme. This theme is very self-explanatory. Obviously, we're using a lot of colors, but not your traditional holiday colors being like red, green, gold, silver, blue, This one brings out kind of more unexpected colors like pink and salmon and turquoise. You kind of get it from seeing this mood board. But some commonalities that I've been seeing for this particular theme is the use of the glass balls for ornaments and the garland, but also a lot of houses. I've been seeing just cute kind of Scandi or Danish style homes popping up in different decor, whether it's on blankets or floor mats or ornaments. There's been a lot of homes and I'm really digging that particular detail. And of course, there's the classic bottle brush trees that you can kind of put on a mantle or bookshelves and scatter around everywhere. But these ones are again in your more untraditional holiday colors, and I think it adds just a fun alternative touch to your home. And this is a theme that I have really been into this year. In the past, I've been closer to more traditional colors, but I think I kind of want to bring in those unexpected pops of color into my home this year. So let's get into the patterns that I found on Ravelry that will work very well for this particular theme. The first little bundle of patterns I have for the colorful theme is pillows, and I was seeing a lot of geometrical shapes in so many different kind of unexpected colors, but somehow when they're put all together, it creates just a fun look. And I think this is a great way to kind of tie in all of the other colors that you're using in your decor, whether it be ornaments or rugs or whatever. A fun, bright pillow can really bring it all together. And I found 2 pillows on Ravelry that I thought really fit this quite well. The first one being the eye cushions by Kaffe Fassett. This one I really want to make myself. It looks like it's just so fun to knit. I just love the way that Kaffe puts together all of these colors that you wouldn't think go well together, but somehow they do. And together in this pillow, I just love the way it turned out. And the fun thing about this pillow is you can do the pattern just on one side and then either knit the back and stockinette stitch in like one of the complementary colors or a contrasting color, or you could even sew fabric on the back to kind of save time. I think this is something that I may end up doing, just knitting the front of the pillow and then sewing fabric on the back with some extra fabric that I have. The fun thing about this pattern is it's actually part of kind of a book called Modern Daily Knitting Field Guide number 16, Painterly, and it comes with 4 different patterns, one of them being a cowl, one is a scarf, one is a throw, and of course the cushions. And the thing that I like about this is the throw actually matches the cushion. So if you wanted to kind of coordinate two of these items together, you could get like more than 2 for 1, you get 4 for 1. And the price for this field guide is $9.95 USD. These pillows use a DK weight yarn, which is great because I don't know about you, but most of my scraps that I have available are all DK weight. So this would be a really good scrappy project too if you're trying to use up bits and bobs of yarn that you have left over. The next pillow again is another color blocked pillow, and that is the Winterfield Cushion by D. Hardwick. This pattern is only available in the Rowan Seasonal Palette Autumn Winter 19 by D. Hardwick, so you probably need to buy the entire issue. Hopefully it's still in stock. But again, this comes with 9 different patterns similar to the Cave Facet pillow, and they all kind of complement each other based on this pattern. This also uses a DK weight yarn, so again, it would be super easy to use up some old stash, and again, you don't have to knit the whole pillow. You can just do fabric on the back or plain stockinette on the back. I think both of these pillows just would create such a fun little pop of color on your couch. The next grouping of patterns is for the ambitious, and that is blankets. I think all over color blankets would really add just such a fun pop of color and charm to the home, and something that would feel special to bring out just for the season every year. I have 2 blankets that I found, and they're actually by the same designer, and that is Margaret Holzman. She must specialize in these colorwork patterns. The first one being the Festive Forest. I thought this was so cute. It kind of reminded me of like the Grinch. I don't know if it is just like the color palette they used or the shape of the trees, but you really can fine-tune the colors to match everything else that you have going on. The nice thing about this pattern is it uses a worsted weight yarn, so it would knit up quite a bit faster than any DK or even fingering blankets out there, obviously, but that's what I like about it because, you know, we have such limited time to create these decor pieces or gifts to give to people this time of year, and it's just nice to have a pattern that knits up quick. The second pattern by Margaret Holzman is the Safe at Home blanket, and this definitely plays off of that house theme that I was seeing in a lot of these online shops, and I've been seeing house themed blankets and pillows popping up in a lot of different areas. I think this one is so fun with all of the different colors you can put together. Again, it's super busy, but somehow it all ties together, and I just think it's super cute and would just be a fun blanket to knit. This uses an Aran weight, so again, it would knit up a little bit quicker, and I've seen people online post all different like versions of this blanket that I think are super cute. One person even made floor cushions or maybe seat cushions with this pattern, and I think that turned out so stinking cute. But this is definitely something that I think would also be fun to be adapted into a cushion cover too. I think it'd be really simple. Obviously, you just don't knit the whole blanket, you just make a little portion of it, and then you have cute house pillows for your couch as well. This next grouping of patterns is one that I found so many different ones, and it was hard to narrow it down to just 4, and that is stockings. There are a ton of stocking patterns out in the world, which obviously makes sense because, you know, most stockings are knit, and I found some great ones that really tie in well to the colorful theme. The first 2 being from Purl Soho, and the great thing about Purl Soho, as we know, is most of their patterns are free online, and I think these 2 just fit the bill so perfectly. So the first one on the left is the Knit Before Christmas by Purl Soho, and this one I think is titled so perfectly because it uses such a thick yarn. It uses jumbo weight yarn, so you literally can knit it just right before Christmas if you need to just whip something out real quick. But I love the way that they color blocked the top and the heel and the toe. I think it's super cute, and then used like a neutral color for the middle, but of course you could do whatever you want. I just like the way that they put these colors together. And then the second one by Pearl Soho is very similar to the first one, and that is the Snow Day by Pearl Soho. Again, it's another free pattern using bulky, actually they put 2 bulky weight together to create a super bulky. So again, this one would be a very quick stocking that you can mix and match even with the Knit Before Christmas. And I like the marled effect that is going on throughout this stocking, as well as the little accent of the pom-pom on the back. I think that is just so stinking cute. So again, these 2 are free patterns by Pearl Soho. The third pattern I found in the middle top is the Holiday Doodle by Jamie Lomax. I thought that the color work for these are so fun, and again, the way they put the colors together, I just absolutely loved. This pattern is $8 USD, and it is knit up in a DK weight. I think this would be a really fun stocking to use up maybe some holiday advent yarn. I know last year for me, I got, I think it was like 20 gram skeins of advent yarn, and I didn't completely know what to do with all of it, and I think this pattern would use up those colors very well, especially because advent colors all kind of flow together, so it would be cute to put it all in this pattern. And then finally, the fourth stocking all the way on the right, which is the Perfect Holiday Fair Isle by Faye Kennington. Very similar to the ones before. I just love the Fair Isle look, and again, I really like the way she put these colors together. This is available for $4.99, and it uses a sport weight yarn, so it may take a little bit longer to knit up, but it is totally worth it because the detail and the patterns throughout this stocking are so cute, and I genuinely think it would be a very fun pattern to knit up. It wouldn't be a seasonal decor video without talking about ornaments. As you can imagine, there are a ton of different ornament patterns available online, but I narrowed it down to these 3. So like in the mood board, there was the orb-shaped ornament, and I thought this 10,000 Shadows by Sissy Fogg Odgaard was a really cool take on the orb ornament. I know there's a lot of knitting patterns for like Christmas balls that you can make little slip covers in a way for the bauble type ornaments, but this one was especially cool because it was first available for an art installation. So it's a free pattern because the designer wanted people to knit up all of these different orbs that she was using for this big art installation. That's why it's called the 10,000 Shadows, I think, because they wanted to create 10,000 orbs. I don't think she's still accepting these because this was from last year, but how cool would it be to create these for your own tree or garland or wherever? I think it's just a really unique take on an orbed ornament. One other thing that I was seeing a ton of when I was online shopping was animal-inspired ornaments, just cute little animals everywhere. I don't have any kids. I do have a nephew, but he's kind of out of the stuffed animal phase of his life, but I still think it'd be really fun to knit little animals, and this would be a really great way to do so, especially using little pops of color. I think they would just add a super fun touch on the tree. The first one being the top one is Snowball Buddies by Susan Claudino. And I liked how these were all kind of the ball shaped, but obviously creating an animal out of it, and the colors that she used to create them. And this pattern is available for $6. It uses a worsted weight yarn, so again, I think you could knit these up super quick and use up, again, a bunch of scrap yarn if you need to get rid of it. The next pattern is Winter Animals by Amy Gaines. It is available for $4 USD and also uses a worsted weight yarn. This is a similar look to the previous ornament, but you just get the full body instead of the little ball shape. And I just love the little scarves that they are wearing. I think it's really sweet and cute. The next bundle of patterns I have is for tree skirts, and there isn't as many tree skirt patterns available on Ravelry, which I was kind of surprised about compared to all of the other patterns available, but I still was able to find two that really fit into this theme quite well. The first one being the Knit Around the Tree Skirt by Pearl Soho, which again is a free pattern. I think this is so cool how, again, they used that neutral background and the little pops of colors, that kind of ombre around the tree, I think is a really cool touch. I also like how they coordinated the colors with the ornaments that they have on the tree to have like a very on-themed feel. This uses a super bulky yarn weight, so again, you can knit this up super quick if you need to just whip out a tree skirt in time for Christmas. The next skirt I thought was really fun is the Brava Holiday Tree Skirt by Karen Marlatt, and I really like the blocky shapes to it. It's a very simple looking color work pattern throughout, and I think switching up the colors to be those more untraditional kind of like pinks and turquoises would be a really cool way to incorporate all of these colors together for your whole theme. This one is available for $3.99 USD and uses a worsted weight yarn, so again, you can knit this up pretty decently quick in time for the holidays. The next bundle of patterns I have is for garlands. One thing that I like about garlands is how universal they are, especially for people who may not even have space for a tree. Obviously you can put garland on a tree, but I know in the last place that I lived in, we didn't have enough room to really put up a Christmas tree, but we did have like a decorative shelf that I had like paintings or whatever on it, and it was really fun to just add a garland onto that to create kind of a festive look, or you could put them on your mantle over the fireplace or on a stairwell. You could do a lot with garlands, and I found so many great example or patterns available for them, but I narrowed it down to these three. The first one being the mini hat garland by Emily Ross. I really liked this one because each item is different from each other, and so you get that big variety of what you can knit, so you don't really get too bored with it. I know a couple years ago I made a garland that was all pom-poms, and by the end of it I was like, I never want to knit a pom-pom again. So I think that's something that's really cool with this one. This pattern is available for $6 USD, and it is made using a fingering weight yarn, which honestly, like, I would say is appropriate for how tiny these little items are. It would be really difficult to make it in like a bulky weight, but I just think it's cute, all the different styles of hats available, and I'm sure they're very customizable too, so you can really like get it to whatever theme you're going for in your house. The second pattern I found is the Tiny Collection by Umi Knits. There were so many patterns out there for the little mini sweaters that you knit up. I think a lot of people do it like Advent style, where each week or day or whatever they knit up a mini sweater, which I think is so cute. This one I liked especially because there's so much detail in all of these little sweaters. This one is available for $4.20 USD, and it uses a fingering weight yarn. Again, you would need a small yarn to create these little details, but I absolutely love all of the examples that I am seeing on this Ravelry page. There's cable knit, there's intarsia, there's all over color work, there's even cardigans. I just think this is so stinking cute, and not only would it be really cute to put on a garland, but I think it also would look great as ornaments on the Christmas tree as well. The third garland I found I think is like a cute little ode to the paper ring that people make to create that big garland. It's similar but knitted, and it's the Ring Garland by Frankie Brown. This is a free Ravelry download, and it looks super simple to make. You basically just knit a bunch of rings and then you kind of thread the string through it to create this cool looking garland. And they don't list what weight of yarn is used in this one, but I think it's just whatever weight will work. It'll just determine how big the rings are or not. So you could really go wild with whatever weight of yarn you want to use for this one. The next theme I have is one that I have used for many years and still do in my home, and that is the natural theme. It's really bringing in nature from outside into your home to create just like a cozy woodland themed environment. And especially for the holidays, I think it can be super fun. I found a ton of examples online for the natural theme, and I just love the color palette they use. It's kind of like a fall theme color palette, so if you're not really completely over the fall vibes, this is a really good way to incorporate it to last it through the winter season as well. I really like the warm colors of like the beige and the golds and the brown and even like kind of a burnt brick red. I think it just creates a warm and cozy environment. Again, like I mentioned before, I saw a lot of animal themed ornaments. That was the case for the natural theme too. I found a ton of little animal ornaments, a lot of felted ornaments, but I think they could be incorporated into just knitted ornaments as well. And a lot of texture. I think texture is like the main key for this particular theme, whether it's in pillows or stockings or even tree skirts. Texture is definitely the way to go. And some gold accents too, similar to this menorah that we see in the upper right hand corner. I love like the leaves going up, but it's in that brass kind of color. I think brass metals is like a huge way to kind of bring out a little sparkle into this particular theme. So for the first grouping that I have is again pillows, and I think for this particular theme of decor, you really do not have to go the traditional like Christmas route with it. As long as it's just kind of like a texture cozy feel, I think it really will bring out that feel in your decor. So for the first pillow that I have on here, it is the Haven by Margaret for Heidi and Lana. I love this pillow, and I kind of like the muted pop of red, but again, you could really make it in any color, obviously, whether you want to go bright or even more neutral with like beige and white, or who knows what you want to do. But I think this pillow is adorable, and I especially like the little tassels on each corner with that little bead. I think it just adds a little bit of festiveness to it. This is available for $8 USD, and it uses a DK weight yarn. The second pillow really brings out the texture that I was talking about, and that is Nature's Whisper by Laura Simonson. And I like the way that this kind of resembled like a little Christmas tree too. It brings in that festive look to it without being over the top. This is available for $6 USD and is knitted up in a worsted weight yarn. It looks like kind of a smaller lumbar style pillow, maybe not quite as long, but again, I think you can knit this up super quick. And I like how it's used more like natural rustic yarn. I think it really brings out that natural feeling. And then the third pillow that I have on here is the Plaid Stag Cushion by Pat Strong. I think this one is super fun if you want to bring in a little bit of color work into the whole look, but you don't want it to be over the top. You still want it to be muted and just more natural feeling. I like the deer antlers on it. That definitely brings the nature aspect into it, as well as the different snowflakes. And again, I think this would be a really fun pattern to knit. This pattern can be purchased on knittingmag.com. It doesn't tell me how much it costs, but I can't imagine it would be too much. And again, it's using an Aran weight yarn, so you could knit it up pretty quickly. Moving on, we have blanket patterns, and I think this is another key to kind of create that cozy, natural feel, something you can just toss over an armchair or your couch. I just think it adds such a nice touch to it. And the first one, again, is that texture. It's the Braided Cables Knit Throw by Yarnspirations Design. This is a free pattern, which is awesome, and it's using bulky weight yarn. So once again, you can knit this up super quick. And I especially like the way that they use just the plain cream color because I think it brings out just those beautiful cables going throughout the blanket. The next blanket is, again, if you want to bring a little bit of color work into your home but not be over the top and want it to still be nature themed, and that is the Sholach Mosiac Afghan by Abby McIntyre. I absolutely love the different pine trees on here. I think they are so stinking cute, and I really loved the kind of muted color scheme they have going on in here with just the couple different shades of greens and the white background. I think it just creates the right amount of natural colors for your couch or wherever you want to put it. This is available for $9.03 USD, and it is knit up in an Aran weight yarn. Next up, again, is stockings, and as you can imagine, there was a ton of examples available, and I narrowed it down to these 3, and the main key between all 3 of them is, again, the texture, and using just a solid natural colored yarn, but with cables or lace knitting, I think adds just like a really cute touch to this. The first one is the Cozy Cabled Stocking by Ksenia Nadian. And I love just how simple this cable knit pattern is. This pattern is available for $6 USD and it's knit up using a worsted weight yarn. The second stocking pattern I have is another cable knit stocking, and this is actually one that I have knit a long time ago before I even had a YouTube channel, and that is the Sugar Twist Knit Stocking by Yarnspirations Design Studio. I remember, I don't even know where I put this stocking, it's probably packed up in my holiday decor, but I only ended up making one of them. I do think it would be fun to make a second one just so it has a little friend, but this is a free pattern and it uses a worsted weight yarn, and from what I remember I was able to knit it up pretty quick. I really like this slightly more complex cable knit pattern, and these are a bit longer than the previous stockings I mentioned, which can hold a lot more fun goodies on Christmas morning. And then the third pattern I thought was really cool because it kind of reminded me of the Magnolia Bloom sweater that I made in the past, and that is the Dahlia Geostropi Solo by Lene Home Samso. I know I butchered that name, but I gave it my best. This is a unique take on a stocking again because it's using a lace pattern, which I have not seen much in the patterns available online. And you can get this pattern for $5.25 USD, and it is using a bulky weight yarn. Another thing that I really like is that the top of it isn't like your traditional rib knit hem. It uses like, gosh, is that moss stitch or seed stitch? I think it might be a seed stitch, but it just, again, has that really cool rustic texture that brings out the look and feel of a natural home. Next up, we have ornaments, and there again was a lot of patterns available for these. I really liked the animals and the mushrooms and the trees and the gnomes. I just love all of these. So let's just jump into the first pattern I have here, which is the Christmas Toadstool by Kasia Viorella Fredrickson. There was a lot of toadstool ornaments available, but these ones I thought were like the most realistic and had just some really cool details on it. Of course, there's like the little white spots at the top, but even underneath it with like the gills of the mushroom, they did little ribbing underneath, and at the very bottom there's like a little bit of color work to kind of create a little dirt effect, like you just plucked it right out of the ground. I think it's super cute. This is available for $2.88, which is a really good price for a paid for pattern. They say you can use any gauge. This particular designer knit these out of scrap yarn that they had, and yeah, I think it's super cute. The next ornament is Christmas Tree by Elizabeth Murphy, and I like the idea of having Christmas tree ornaments on a Christmas tree. Another thing that I really loved about this pattern is they use a little cinnamon stick for the trunk of the tree, so it would add like a little cinnamon smell on your tree, which I just think is a cute little touch. And it looks super simple. It's just, you know, using garter stitch, and it looks like you're decreasing all the way to the top to create that triangle. But if you need a little of assistance, it is available for $5 USD, and it uses an Aran weight yarn. I, of course, had to include a little sheepy ornament because, you know, we're all lovers of the sheep here in this community, and this one was especially cute. It is the Woolly Wee Sheep by Church Mouse Yarns and Tea. I think this Church Mouse Yarns and Tea creates a ton of holiday decor patterns. I was seeing it kind of everywhere when I was searching through Ravelry, but these sheep are just so stinking cute. You can get this pattern for $8 USD, and it uses a DK weight yarn. I absolutely love how they added the little bell to the collar around its neck. It's just such a cute little detail on this ornament. And then finally, we have these adorable gnome ornaments. I think it's so cute. I know gnomes kind of pop up a lot in Christmas decor, so if you want a little bit of gnome in your life, you can make these little cute ornaments. And they are available for $5 USD and knit up in a worsted weight yarn. But I thought it was really cool that they used, I think, like pom-poms for their little beards, and then they added that little gold bead for the nose. I love these so much. They also would make super cute little gift toppers, maybe, if you're gifting items this year, just to add a little touch. I don't know, they're so cute. Of course, I had to include tree skirt for this, and again, it's those textures and the natural colors that really bring out the natural feel. The first one I have up here is Mini Loopy Tree Skirt by Church Mouse Yarns and Tea. Again, that designer is creating so many cool holiday decor. I thought this tree skirt was so unique too, with just those big fluffy fringe, I want to call it, around the edge. It just adds to the coziness feel that you could be going for. This pattern is available for free, which is really cool, and it uses jumbo weight yarn. So I know that like Michaels and Joann sell a ton of jumbo weight yarn this time of year for making blankets. I think that yarn would be great to make a tree skirt for your tree. The second tree skirt that I have up here, I am absolutely in love with, and I think I'm actually going to make this one myself. This is the Sastrugi tree skirt by Amy Gunderson, and I think the texture and kind of the cable knitting, you want to call it, on here is just so cool. And I like that it's not a perfect circle either. It's more of almost like a hexagonal shape around. But yeah, I absolutely love this pattern, and I think it's so beautiful in this natural colorway. You can get this pattern for $7.99 on interweave.com, and it uses a super bulky weight yarn. So again, you could knit this up in like a few days, I'm sure. Of course, we need more garlands to bring out the natural feel of the home. And this one is kind of a fall feeling garland that I think could be translated very well into, you know, winter time as well. And that is the Leaf Garland by Ariana Frasca. There were a lot of leaf garlands available online, but I really liked this particular one because again, it appears to have a lot of different texture on the leaves. This one is available for $2 USD and uses a light fingering weight. The last grouping of patterns I have for this theme is trinkets, and of course we need to talk about these bottle brush trees. This is the Pine Tree by Tina Velo Anderson, and I think these are my favorite tree knit pattern that I found on Ravelry. I don't know, there's just something about the way that they used the two different colors to kind of create that snowy effect, like when snow clumps up on the limbs of the trees. I just think it's so cute, and just this subtle kind of sagey green brings out just like a calm, natural vibe. Just imagine knitting a bunch of these and scattering them around your home. I think it's just so cute. And it's not totally holiday themed, like it's more of like a winter feel, and that's something that I really like about these. These are available for $6 USD, and they are knit up in a fingering weight. The other trinket that I have, I'm considering it a trinket because you can do a lot of different things with it. You can either put it up in a Christmas tree to be like an ornament, or you can clip it in several different areas of the house. But that is the Winter White Owl by Claire Garland. I thought this particular owl pattern looked so realistic and cool. And I don't know, for some reason I just think of wintertime a lot when I think of owls. I think I've seen a lot of owls around where I live in the wintertime, so it just makes me think of winter. This owl is available for $7.74, and it's knit up in a sport weight yarn. And again, if you've been in the mood to knit up like a little stuffed animal, but you don't really have any kids to give those animals to, I think this is a fun way to be able to have it for yourself in your home. And maybe I should make one for me. The next theme that I put together here is for the traditional style. And I think this style has kind of been all the rage in the home decor world. I know, like with every show I'm watching, or people's Instagrams I'm seeing, or even the home stores online, they all are really leaning hard into the traditional theme. And it's funny that we call it a trend because it's traditional, but the nice thing about traditional is it never really goes out of style. And this is a style that I have definitely leaned more towards into my home as well. And I like the more modern take on it by using slightly muted classic colors and a little more earthy tones. So the red isn't quite like lipstick red or bright red, and the green isn't quite emerald green. It's more of like an olive green. And then they included more browns into it and tans. I think it just creates a softer, more elegant feel for this traditional theme. And I have absolutely been loving the tartan plaid pattern on like everything. I think that is definitely something that I think would be fun to incorporate into the home as well, and I've just been seeing it everywhere. So of course, for the first bundle of patterns is more pillows, and I want to make every single one of these pillows. I don't know which one I want to make first or what color I want to make. I am definitely in between the Winter Pillow by Stana de Sortor or the Winter Pute by Bergerberg. Or Bergerberg? I don't know. Let's talk about the Winter Pillow first by Stana de Sortor. I think this is a really cool all over colorwork pillow, and I think it would be super fun to knit up, especially because it looks like the pattern would be super easy to memorize. So once you kind of get the first few rows down, you can just go off and have fun with it. This pattern is available for free, which is an added fun bonus on the Knit Picks website, and it uses a worsted weight yarn. I seriously want to make this. I have no idea what color I want to make it in because I'm still in between, like, should I bring in the bright colorful theme or should I stick with my traditional / natural theme? I have no idea, but I know I eventually want to knit this. I just need to land on a color for it. The next pillow that I mentioned was the Winter Pute by Bergerberg or Bergerberg. And I really love these classic snowflake pattern that you kind of see everywhere. I think that definitely falls into the traditional, feel of it because it's never really going to go out of style. And again, the fun thing about this is it's also a free Ravelry download. So we love free patterns. But again, I have no idea what color I would want to knit this in. I really like just this black and white version they have. And I think it would add like nice subtle contrast that sometimes I need to have in my home. But yeah, I think this is super cute. And again, you wouldn't really need to knit this pattern on both sides. You could do just like a black stockinette stitch on the back or fabric on the back, and I think that would suffice for this pattern. And then the third pillow that I added into this is another classic quilt block feel, and it's probably why it's called the quilt block pillow by Marin Shaman. I've been seeing a lot of quilt block style home decor pieces lately, and yeah, I think this one is super cute. You can get it for $7 USD, and it's knit up in a worsted weight yarn. For the blankets, I know that you could use a lot of textured blankets, and those would fit in very well in a traditional themed home, but I also really like that tartan pattern, and that's why I included the Just Plaid by Ronnie Eldridge. The way that they knit up this sample definitely gives me more of like buffalo plaid vibes. I think if I were to do this one myself, I would incorporate a few more colors, like maybe whites or green along with the red and maybe a little bit of black too. But I think you could really have a lot of fun with how you're choosing colors for this particular blanket. And it's really the only like plaid blanket that I saw on Ravelry, and I think it was very nicely done the way that they designed the pattern. Unfortunately, you can't buy this pattern right on Ravelry. It says check vendors such as Lovecrafts or Makerist to see if it's available in a kit, which kind of sucks because I want to knit this and I want to use my own colors. But I'm sure if you really studied the pattern closely, you would be able to kind of figure out how to make the color work chart for yourself to knit it up. And this one is knit up in a worsted weight yarn, so again, you could have it done somewhat quickly. And of course, we have to talk about the stockings because again, there are a lot of stocking patterns available. And this one, I kind of incorporated the texture, the color work, and the tartan style pattern into this little grouping. So first on the left hand side we have, and the stockings were hung by Patricia Burrows, and she used, you know, these different texture patterns, but in the classic traditional holiday themed colors, and I think that just adds a very nice touch to it. I think this would be fun to knit too because there's all different textures going on, so you switch it up every few inches and you wouldn't get too bored with it. This is $5 USD and is knit up in a bulky weight yarn. In the top center, we have the Holiday Stockings by Michelle Bernstein, and I thought these were so classic and cute and kind of gave like Scandinavian vibes to it. Again, with the snowflake and the cute like folky looking deer. And I like how they kind of swapped the colors to incorporate, they kind of are married to each other. This pattern is available for $4.99 on Knit Picks, and it is knit up in a bulky weight yarn. All the way on the right hand side, we have some more textured knit stockings, and that's the Christmas Knit Stocking by Brianna K Designs. One thing that I thought was so cute about these is kind of just like the faux fur tops with the little pom-poms dangling off the edge. It just adds such a cute look to it. This is available for $6 USD and is knit up in an Aran weight yarn. All right, I saved my favorite stocking for last. I think this might be my favorite stocking out of all of the stockings that we're talking about today, and that is the Pembroke stocking by Laura Taboo. These are exactly just that traditional, muted, bold colors that I have been seeing all over the internet. And I think this designer knocked it out of the park with this one. I just think this one is so cool. You can buy it for $6 USD and it's knit up in a worsted weight yarn. This designer has, I think it's a bundle of 4 different patterns available. So if you want to mix and match different patterns but knit them all up in the same color together, you can do that with this particular bundle. And I don't know if that bundle is $10 or if it's $6 because they have 2 prices listed here. But yeah, I think this one is really cool. Once again, we must be talking about ornaments too, especially for a traditional theme. I think ornaments are very traditional. And the first one that I have up here is a snowman. Again, it's a cute little stuffed animal style ornament in a very classic character, which is the snowman. I love how they dressed him up in a little hat and a scarf, and they have all the little details with the carrot nose, the coal buttons, and the little stick arms. This one in the picture, it doesn't really show it as an ornament. Like, you can create it to just be standalone, or of course you can add a little string at the top to hang it on your tree. And another great thing about this pattern is it is free. Again, we love free patterns. They used a fingering weight yarn to make this one, which again is important with all of the different details you have on this particular little snowman. The top middle one I thought was super cute because it's like a play off of those traditional European mittens that we see a lot of. And that is the Mitten Miniatures by Elizabeth Upitis. I should have looked a little more closely before I put all these patterns together because it doesn't look like you can buy it right off Ravelry, but it is available in Knitters Magazine 9, Winter 1987. So you might have to check out your library or go to a thrift store or online thrift shop to see if this is still available. But I don't know, maybe you could buy like a traditional Latvian mitten pattern and then just shrink it down to very tiny, and then you have your little ornaments available for it. Next up, all the way on the right, we have the Mini Christmas Stocking Ornaments by Julie Williams, which is another free pattern. And I really like how these ones from far away, they all look the same, but if you look at it closely, each one has a different pattern on it, and I think they're really cute. You could also add these onto a garland as well to make a garland out of it, but I especially like them as little ornaments. And I don't know about you, but on my tree, I like to have all different types of ornaments, but I like to have one theme of ornament that's kind of scattered throughout the tree that kind of ties it all together. And this would be a good way to kind of have a common ornament feel going throughout the tree, if that even makes sense. But yeah, it's knit up in a fingering weight yarn. And then the last little ornaments that I have on here, you can either clip it onto the tree branch or you could add a little loop-de-loop on the top, and that is the knit cardinal. I think I have a special affinity for knit cardinals because cardinals are everywhere where I live. I just see them all the time. So I love them. I love how bright red they are. They really just stand out. And I think they're just like a very classic holiday themed bird. Of course, I had to add more tree skirts to the bundle. And the first one I really like because it reminds me of a sweater yoke. This is the Jólaskull by Vetis Jónsdóttir. Again, I apologize for that pronunciation. This is available for $6.50 USD and is knit up in a bulky weight yarn. I think this one would be super fun, especially if you love knitting color yoke sweaters, but you get really bored when you get to the body and it's just plain stockinette stitch. This particular pattern, you get to do the whole yoke and then you're done. The next pattern I have on here is the Cherry Cordials tree skirt by Allison Green. And again, it's using those textures that we like in a very traditional red color. This is available for free and is knit up in a jumbo weight yarn. These next two patterns I have are more for the kitchen because I don't know about you, but I love to bring little seasonal details everywhere into the house, including the kitchen. And the first pattern I have on here I really love, which is the Plaid Hand Towel by Darling J'adore. And of course I love it because it has that tartan plaid look, and I just think it's a classic holiday looking pattern. This is available for $5.25 and is knit up using a worsted weight yarn. This would be really great if you have some scrappy cotton yarn laying around and maybe you need a little break from the wool and want to knit up something cotton. This would be a great, kind of pattern to knit that up in. The second one I have on here is the Snow Two Alike by Amy Marie. And I think this particular pattern could be used for several different reasons. You can use it as like a washcloth or a towel or even a trivet. For the final theme that I kind of grouped together and was seeing a lot of online is the celestial theme. This one definitely leans heavier into like winter solstice or kind of more of an elegant vibe. And that's because it's all about obviously the moons and the stars, but the mixing of metals as well. So mixing golds with silvers to create just like a glitzy and shiny feel. I think this is like a really cool theme, and using like all of the fairy lights around, and yeah, I think it's really cool. And I wasn't able to find quite as many patterns online to fit this theme because, you know, it's not like a super traditional decor, so there isn't as many patterns available for it, but I was still able to find some that I think fit this very well. First up is, yes, more pillows. I just love pillows. This first one I have on here is on the left-hand side is the Skies of Sweden pillow by Jenny Fennell. And I know we have like trees on here, but it's those little snowdrops coming down from the top that I think give it kind of a magical, celestial type of feel. Especially if you were to maybe knit this up in a different color other than red. You could do like a gold or a gray to kind of give it that more shiny feel. Or if you even used like a glittery yarn, I think it would add just a little bit of sparkle to the pillow. This pattern is available on interweave.com. It doesn't tell me how much it is, but it is knit up in a worsted weight yarn. The top pillow here is, yes, using the classic snowflake, but I like how they mixed in the more delicate snowflake in the middle and little pieces around it. I think it just gives it like a little glistening, delicate feel to make it more of a celestial feel. And that is the Winter Snowflakes cushion by Knitwit's Heaven. This pattern is available for $5 USD and is knit up in an Aran weight yarn. All the way on the right, I think this pillow is so cool. Again, I want to knit this one really bad. And that is the Starn Cushion cover by Hazel Tyndall. This is a round shaped pillow, but the color work on it is so cool, and I like how it creates that big star in the middle, and you could really have fun with the colors that you used. There's some examples that used color changing yarn throughout the contrast color that I think look really cool, but even just this plain kind of charcoal and white color I think is very striking. This pattern is available for $5.16 USD. The final pillow pattern at the very bottom is the Regal Frost Cushions by Joe Sharp, and I love these. They kind of, I've been watching a lot of like The Gilded Age on HBO, and it kind of reminds me of maybe a pillow that would be on there. I especially like the color that they used, being kind of that golden contrast color with the white background. I think it just looks very elegant and I love it. This was published in Hand Knit Holidays, knitting year-round for Christmas, Hanukkah, and winter solstice. So you can't really buy the pattern alone on Ravelry, but I'm sure you could try to get your hands on that publication that it's in. Yes, again, I have more ornaments on here, most of them or all of them being star themed. And the first one we have at the very top is this Starna by Carolina Eckerdahl. And yeah, these are just super classic stars, and they knitted up in these plain white, but how cool would it be again if you did like kind of like a sparkly gold or silver yarn, or did white and held it together with like a gold mohair, something just to add a little bit of dimension to it. I think it would be super cute. But what we love about this is it's another free pattern, and it's knit up in a DK weight yarn. On the bottom left, we have Moons and Stars by Amy Gaines, and again, knitting it up in more of a glistening colored yarn I think would be super cool. This pattern is available for $3 USD and is knit up in a DK weight yarn. And then all the way onto the right, we have a different kind of look to the stars. They look more like pinwheels, which I thought was a kind of cool take, and that's the Celestial Ornaments by Sandy Prosper. These kind of reminded me, last year I was making a bunch of paper stars. These kind of reminded me of that because they almost have like an origami look. Of course, they're not 3D, but I just like the different take of them. And you could use them as ornaments, but I think they would also be kind of cool to kind of scatter across maybe your dining room table to create kind of a cool centerpiece as well, since they're not 3D. These are available for $4.99 and they're knit up in a sport weight yarn. Okay, I need you all to open your mind with me for this next pattern because technically it's a rug, but I think it would make a really cool tree skirt, unless you want to keep it as a rug. And that is the Moonlight Reflection by Drops Design. So yes, we have a rug here. I think it's really cool. I love this like whimsical look of the moon. I know we have like 3 moons in there, so we pretend we're on like, I don't know, Jupiter or something with multiple moons. I'm rambling. But you could either create like a steek and cut through the pattern, or you could try to adapt it where it just already has that gap in between so you could wrap it around your tree. I think it'd be a really cool way to make a celestial themed tree skirt. This pattern is available for free and it's knit up in an air and weight yarn. Of course, we have another garland, and that is Starlight Garland by Rebecca J. Vinton. Similar to the rug, I really like how they used subtle colors with that like light pink and the light tan. It kind of creates a rose gold and gold feel with the garland. And yeah, I think it adds just a nice magical touch. This is also available for free and knit up in an air and weight yarn. I had to include more bottle brush tree patterns because they seem to be available all over Ravelry, and I just think they fit into every single theme. And these ones I thought were super nice for the celestial theme, and they are White Pines by Susan Barron. I really like the different textures they used in almost all the same colors, and then they added a little bit of gray into it as well. I think that's really nice. And you could even add little bead work to it to create a little sparkle to the tree, and I think that would be super cute. These are available for $5.99 USD and they are knit up in worsted weight yarn. The final pattern I have for the celestial theme is more different than Decor, and that is a host gift. I know a lot of us go to different parties throughout the year, and it's really nice to bring the host a gift, especially if you buy like a bottle of wine or something. I thought this would be a super cute little cozy to add just like a little personal touch to it, and that is the Wine Cozy by Jennifer Carter. Of course, it's celestial because we have these little starbursts on it with that midnight blue background. I don't know, I just think these are super cool. It is yet another free pattern knit up in a worsted weight yarn, and it also includes different ways to kind of embellish the Wine Cozy if you don't really want it to be the celestial theme. All right, that felt like a marathon going through all of these decor pieces. I think I put together a ton of fun ideas for you. Let me know what your favorite theme is, or if you've knit up any of these patterns and how you've liked it. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for sticking around. If you really like this type of content, please give it a thumbs up. That really lets me know if you want me to do more versions of these like knit the trend type videos. And if you're new here, welcome. Please consider subscribing and you won't miss out on any future content. In the meantime, I hope you are having a lovely week and are maybe pulling out all of the holiday boxes of decor, and you have a fabulous time decorating your home for this winter season. Anyways, we will chat next time. The next video will be another podcast style video where I update you on everything that I'm knitting. So stay tuned in 2 weeks for us to chat next time. Bye!